Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking Blind with me, Yolanda. Today we're going to take a different spin on things. We're going to go vegetarian. We're going to be making a vegetarian style meatless meatball, which is very versatile. You can use it as a meal, or you can use it as a snack, or if you want to impress your guests, you can make them small into cocktail size and use them as appetizers. So join me today in the kitchen as we make vegetarian style meatless meatballs. For this recipe, we will be requiring 1 small onion, 500 milliliters of drained chickpeas, and the ones in a can are fine, 1 medium-sized zucchini, 1 very large eggplant, and 1 sweet bell pepper, any color of your choice. We will also be requiring 3 small cloves of garlic, about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and salt and pepper to season. So we're going to put about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil in a very large skillet, and we're going to turn this on. We're going to warm up the olive oil. Okay, so we'll give that a few seconds. So we're good, the oil is heated. We're going to add our garlic and our chopped onion. Now, a rough chop is fine because we are going to put this through the food processor after. So there's no need to chop very finely. Okay. And you're just going to give it a quick saute. And we're going to start seasoning every layer. So a little bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper. And again, if you don't like pepper, you don't have to put it. Give it a quick stir. Okay. And the next thing I want to show you guys is with your zucchini and your eggplant, what you want to do when you cut up your vegetables, about half an hour before you start, you want to put about 1 teaspoon of salt after you cut it up, and mix it all around. And the reason is because you're going to get all this residual water coming out. So this is from the eggplant, and you'll see here this is from the zucchini. Now this water that comes out is very bitter, so that's what the salt does. It takes out that bitter water. So you want to do that about half an hour before you start. Okay. Now I'm going to go with the zucchini first. We're going to add our zucchini. Okay. Now, just dump that water. It's not good, the water. Okay. Now, you don't have to season this because you've already put the salt. Drain it. There we go. Just give it a few minutes. I'm just going to turn on the fan. Okay. And I think I forgot one thing to mention. In the ingredients, you will also be needing about 2 medium potatoes, coarsely chopped as well. I believe I forgot that in the beginning, sorry. So right here, I have my coarsely chopped potatoes. We're gonna add that in. Now, if you don't want to add potato, you can certainly swap it out for sweet potato or another vegetable that you prefer, but something a little bit starchy because it will give the meatball some body. Okay, so we'll let this simmer for a few minutes and then we'll continue on with the next step. Okay, now that's been cooking about 3 to 4 minutes. So we're going to add our eggplant. And again, no seasoning on this because we put a teaspoon of salt in order to drain the liquid. So, here. Good stir. And as you can see, yes, my hands are in there because it prevents me from throwing it all over the stove. When you can't see what you're doing, it's not that easy. And do I have burn marks? Yes, I do, but it's okay. I love to cook, so my passion for cooking makes up for it. So now this has been cooking for about another, say, 3 to 4 minutes. So next I'm going to add in my canned chickpeas that are drained. And again, yes, you can use from a can. I certainly do. I like to make my life as easy as possible. If you want to cook your own, you are more than welcome. It's just an extra step that you have to do. For me, it just simplifies. Ooh, that's hot. For me, it simplifies. That's why I use my fingers. I went all over the stove. That's okay. There we go. So we're just going to let this saute for a few more minutes and we'll move on to the next step. So this has been sauteing everything together. Now we're going to add our last vegetable, which is our sweet bell pepper. And we're adding this last because pepper usually cooks very quickly. So that's why we're doing this one last. What I try to do is always put the vegetables that take the longest first, so they get more time with the heat. So hopefully this time I won't throw it all over the stove like I did before. I'm going to go nice and slow and try not to burn myself too. Just give it a mix. I'm sure you guys will be a lot faster at this than I am. But you can see all the beautiful colors, the red, the green, the nice eggplant, and it smells amazing in here. I wish you guys could smell this. But with the onion and the garlic, it smells so good. And this is good even for your kids. If they say they don't like vegetables, which most kids don't, you can trick them. I hate to say it, but as parents, we have to do what we have to do to get the vegetables in. And this is one way. Just tell them they're eating meatballs. You don't have to tell them that there's a whole lot of vegetables in there. What they don't know won't hurt them. So that's it. We're going to do that. We're going to season one last time. Okay, give it a good season. today I'm really burning myself here, but that's okay. Okay. A little more pepper. Now you don't have to be perfect with measurements with something like this, because you can substitute, you can take away. There's no science to this. And how I came up with this recipe is pretty much one day I was cleaning out my refrigerator of vegetables that I didn't know what to do with, and I didn't want to throw them away because food's very expensive these days. And so I just threw them in a pot and put it together, and I made this dish, and it was really, really good. So we're going to let this saute. Now, I'm going to put a lid on it. Turn down the heat. Okay, put the lid on, and we're going to cook this for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until all the vegetables are softened. And then we'll move on, and I'll show you the next step. We're about halfway through right now, about 15 minutes in, and here we go. This is what it looks like so far. You can see all your vegetables are slowly getting wilted, and obviously coming down in volume. Okay, we're going to give it a quick stir. Just make sure you get to the bottom, move it around, so nothing gets stuck. It shouldn't. But if you see that it is getting just a little bit stuck, mine is not. But if you're having trouble, just put just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of water. Give it a nice stir. There we go. And I want to take a moment just to thank my cousin Lucy. She actually gave me something quite cute, which I thought was really nice of her. She made me this beautiful apron that I'm wearing with obviously Cooking Blind with Yolanda on it. So I just want to say thank you to Lucy, and of course to all the viewers that are tuning in. Thank you for subscribing, and as always, please do subscribe, share the video, and hit that notification button so that you're notified when we post new videos. So we're going to put the lid back on it. Close it up properly, close, and we're going to let it go for another 15 minutes. So half an hour is up, and you can see the vegetables are all cooked down. Okay, we're going to give it one last stir. It's actually almost mushy, which is the texture that you want. Okay, so now all we have to do right now is, now remember one thing, this has to be made the day before, and I kind of forgot to mention that at the beginning, but you should make this one day ahead. It just helps with the absorption of liquids. So I made it today, so tomorrow we'll be forming our meatballs. But basically it's done, so I'm going to turn off the heat, and you want to let it come down to room temperature. And once it's at room temperature, just put it in a bowl, cover it with some saran wrap, and you can pop it in your refrigerator, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so it's been 24 hours. Our mixture has been in the fridge, and what we're going to do now, I know I said I would put it through a food processor, but it's quite soft, so I'm just going to use a manual potato masher and run it through. If you want, you can use a food processor if you find that it's easier for you, but with the food processor you want to control how much you puree it, because you don't want a soft puree, but you don't want it chunky either. So with a manual potato masher you can control the texture a little more. So just mash it to your desired texture. You You still want a little bit of texture. You don't want complete mash. Okay, so our mixture is all mashed up. Into this I'm going to add 1 slightly beaten egg, about 3/4 cups, and we're going to start with 3/4 cups of grated Parmigiano. And for those of you that don't speak Italian, Parmesan cheese, and 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs. And these are seasoned breadcrumbs, but you can put plain if you like. And we're going to mix this in. And the reason why I said we're going to start with 3/4 cup, if we need to add, we can always add, but we cannot take away. And you're going to just mix that until we get a nice, solid mixture. And we'll actually let it sit for about 10 minutes because the breadcrumbs will absorb a lot of that moisture. So I'm checking the texture, and I'm going to have to add another about 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs because my mixture is quite soft. I'm going to do that, and we'll mix it again and let it sit for another 10 minutes, and hopefully that will firm up my mixture. So our mixture is ready, and I'm just going to get about a tablespoon worth in my hands. Now, as you know, being visually impaired, I like to do things uniform, and so we're going to weigh it. You don't have to do this step. This is just me. Well, that's about right. That's what we want, about 30 grams. I like my little meatballs small, but you can make them bigger if you like. And we're just going to form it, put it in our dish. And we're going to make a few more here. That's about right. See, my eye usually works. Go figure. That's number 2. We'll make one more. So, just roll it in your hands. Now, if your hands start getting sticky, just wet them a little bit, and that'll help. I'll keep making these. Okay, so I've made a few here. I've made about 8 cocktail size for appetizers, and then I've done a few little loaves and a few little pucks, which those are a good size for a meal. So now there's a lot more left. You can make a lot from this batch, and then what you can do is once they're done, you can pop them in the freezer for later use. But for now, we're just going to pop these about 20 minutes in the freezer just to set them up so that they're easier to handle. And the next step is we will be setting up our breading station. So I've got about 2 eggs here that I'm twisting. Give them a quick whisk. And I've got a little breading station set up. So I've got some flour here, just about roughly about a cup. 2 eggs and some panko breadcrumbs, and these I've set for about 30 minutes now. So we're just going to dredge them in the flour lightly, and make sure you shake off the excess flour into our beaten eggs. Coat it well, and straight into the panko. And yes, your hands are going to get messy. And you want to press this in, roll it around, make sure the panko is all coated, and into your dish. And we're going to repeat this process until everything is done. And then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we're going to put about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil into our little skillet here. Now, we're not frying, we're just browning them on the outside. Remember, everything is already cooked. So you just want to get that golden brown hue on it. We're just going to let the oil heat up, and then we'll start. And you can see I've breaded all of the ones that we made earlier with the panko. Okay, our oil is nice and hot. We're going to start putting this in. Okay. These three first. And throw a couple of these logs in as well. Okay. Now, I am going to call my special guest again, my husband, to come and turn these because he needs to see when they get golden brown. And you also have to be careful when you turn them not to break them. They're very fragile. So, see if I can put this one in here too, and then we'll do the appetizer ones after. So I've got them frying. I'm going to call my husband to help me, just because I don't want to splatter myself with hot oil. You need to turn them and just check the color. Make sure that they're getting brown. And again, as I said, everything is cooked. So really all you're looking for is that color and that crispiness. So there we have it. This is your plate as a meal. You can have 2 of these vegetable meatless meatballs with a little dipping sauce of mayonnaise and a nice little side salad. That makes a beautiful light lunch or dinner. Or we did our little ones as little cocktail appetizers, and you can serve this as part of an appetizer table or just with part of your charcuterie board or with some drinks. So there you have it, vegetarian style meatless meatballs. Hope you guys are going to try them, and I'm going to actually take one of these and I'm going to try it and see if it's good, and I'm sure it's good. Really good, crunchy, and it's nice. The middle, there's texture, very good, and vegetarian, so they're good for you, I guess, minus the frying. Anyways, join me next time. I'm not sure, again, what we'll make. I think, however, we'll go more on the sinful side. We'll probably do a dessert. So join me next time. And again, share with your friends, hit that notification button, and subscribe.